Hi, guys. Thanks for joining. This is Essence of Life. Today, we're talking about what is the value of nature. I'm Amanda Armagast.
I'm Dr. Abbasi for Essence. Amanda, why did you choose this subject?
Well, I specifically wanted to talk, this is our philosophical section, Essence of Life, and it was Earth Day on Monday, one of my favorite holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually wanted to talk a little bit about the planet. The question that I chose is to me, it's not a very hard question to answer. But how does environmental justice that's actually not the question I chose. I highlighted the wrong one. Should nature have intrinsic value independent of its utility to humans? So basically, should nature be valuable to other things other than humans is what I was kind of understanding that as, or is if it didn't have value to humans, would it still have value in itself? Is that how you understood the question?
Yeah. And let's answer the question. Does nature need human to survive?
I think nature would survive much better without humans.
But
I think nature needs humans to leave almost to survive.
And that is actually a movie called The Day Earth Stood Still. Everybody should go watch it. It's actually a pretty good movie with Keanu Reeves, and where Keanu Reeves is practically a messenger or ambassador from an overall civilization group in the galaxy. He comes to the Earth and he says that there are only very few planets so unique, so valuable like Earth, and that humanity is on the course of destruction, irreversible destruction of this valuable planet. And he comes in and he practically want first to talk to people, but we behave the way we are, arrogant and selfish. And then practically start a cataclysmic event to destroy all the life. But before that, he takes a sample of every life on planet, like a Noah's Ark, take it to a sanctuary. So after everything is destroyed, come back and replenish the earth. The movie is very interesting, but it goes all to that point that he says, Earth Earth will survive without the humanity, but Earth cannot survive with humanity, and humanity is on a course of destruction, which we understand now. It's not far off.
I mean, there are scientists literally like chaining themselves to things to say, listen to me, you guys are destroying the planet. And scientists usually aren't those like showy, dramatic types of people. So if someone is actually putting their whole life at risk to try and save the planet, I'm pretty sure someone recently started themselves on fire too.
Yeah, but let's come back to that. Why not? I mean, it's ours. Why not do whatever we want to? But that's exactly the point. In all monotheistic religion and the traditional European culture, it goes long before we even, the history was recorded as a modern history. People owned the earth and whatever it belonged to that. Like this part of the earth belonged to this person, and this part belonged to that person. Anything, living thing in that area would belong to person A versus person B. But then when you go to like Native American culture, they did not own the earth. They referred to the earth, many of these cultures, they refer to earth as their mother. You don't own your mother. And that is the difference between this European culture versus many other cultures where European, I mean most of the civilization, even in Middle East, not necessarily the Christian culture, but as well Islamic, Judean, and even many Asian culture. We are not practically the protector of Earth. We are the owner. And if you own something, it comes naturally. You can do, this is your pen. You can break it if you want. You can write with it if you want. If the concept that if you own it, it is yours to do as you wish, which practically inherited from Europe, here in US is it practically is the going culture. But yes, there is another culture that we are not, if anything, we are the protector, or it's trusted to us.
Mhm.
We are, it's not ours.
If anything, we're just very temporarily here in the huge span of the earth.
Yeah.
So to think that you own it is a little bit idiotic
But
because you're not taking it. You're going to die. You're going to be here for like 80 years.
yeah, but
You're
but in truth, though, everybody wants to own a house, right?
Yeah, but do you really own that house?
Well, you own it for the time you live. Then somebody else
But
owns it.
who else simultaneously owns it? You buy your house, for $500,000.
A
You
bank
can do
usually.
what you No, but even you pay off your mortgage, whatever, you're still paying taxes.
Hmm.
You don't really own that land. You can do what you want with that land to an extent. You can't dig certain holes in that land. You can't build specific things on that land. It's still in a way owned by the government because you still every single year have to pay the government for your own house that you already paid off.
Now you're coming to the legal system that certain height above your ground is yours, certain depth below the ground is yours, except you give those rights to somebody else, like mineral right. You can sell it separately, but it all comes together. Something or somebody owns it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, um, but the question of this episode is: does the nature has a value beside utility to us human?
Yeah, I
Uh,
would say the value is bigger than just like it has way more value than just its utility to humans.
yes, and I'm with you on that, on that path. That we don't really own um, the earth. If anything, earth owns us, and we are on a course of destruction and collision with the earth, and this is well documented. But it come back to that. What does value mean? Are we talking about the value in the sense of a financial? Then it's obviously, if humans are not there, nobody's going to pay money for anything. So then you can say no, it doesn't have any value. Does it mean value the philosophical, that it is something worth to be there? Well, that is depending on your philosophical direction you are, because and that you won't like that, Amanda. What I'm going to tell you next. There is uh, a direction in the philosophy which is called nihilism or nihilism,
Mhm.
where it says there is no inherent value to anything in the universe. And then, if you're existential nihilist, you say that I make my own values in my life. I assign it value, like a piece of paper. It's just a piece of paper, but the government comes and says this piece of paper is worth that much. It assigns a value to that, and everybody agrees on that, and then we go using that for interaction. Now, I would say, universe is so big. There are billions of stars, billions of planets, and so on and so forth. Now, what makes Earth more valuable than, let's say, Moon or Mars or something else? What does
Well,
make it more
I
worth?
don't think it is more valuable than
No,
no, because without the moon, like we need the moon for the earth.
but then you mentioned we need the Moon for
No, I
Earth.
okay, the earth needs the moon.
But the Earth is still, it reflect back to the Earth. Let's say a meteor is going to come and destroy a planet in our solar system. Why should it destroy Mars versus Earth?
Okay, well, you were saying you need a haircut. What is more valuable for your haircut? The left or the right side of the scissors? You
Mhm.
need both for your
Mhm.
haircut to have value. You need
Mhm.
both to have a haircut.
So, but let's go back to that. This is now a philosophical talk about um. I, my personal belief is that the Earth, the life, the planet has inherent value beyond us. This is my personal value.
And I agree.
I'm just being the devil's advocate on both sides.
Mhm.
One extreme says God gave us the earth. It has the value that as long as it benefits us. So that means that earth has no other value except when it is beneficial to us. The other extreme is says no, it has no value. It's not more important than Pluto or Mars. No, there is life on it, but so what?
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? So you see, these are two extreme that both of them they take the value of the nature away from it, because one says it only has a value as long as it's related to us. The other one says that nothing has any inherent value except we assign it to that. But then that requires somebody like me, a human, assign a value to that. Whereas I'm saying, like that movie, that life is probably something precious in the whole universe. Like we have like many planets in the solar system. As we know, only one planet can sustain life, create life, and evolve life to a point that you and I are thinking here. We're talking about we're thinking and talking about the value of life.
Mhm.
I think that process has an inherent value in itself, creating conscious. Okay, so not because God gave this to us, not because it benefit us, or I can rent it out because it's mine, I can rent it out to you, but because it creates conscious.
I agree with what you said, totally 100%. But then, like, to take it to the next level, I think that the value of I believe that animals are conscious.
Okay,
So
you can believe that. I don't know that, but I know I'm conscious.
yeah, so what I'm saying is the question is utility to humans.
Mhm.
I think that everything that you said, in my opinion, is true, but I think it doesn't stop at humans.
No,
If every
no,
human died,
never, no.
Earth still has the same amount of value. Like the animals, you know what I
Earth
mean?
has the first of all, I do agree that no, first of all, philosophically, you cannot know anything at consciousness except yourself. It might be everything in your head. That's a philosophical direction that says, everything is a fiction of your mind and so on. You can be sure you have consciousness, but you cannot be even sure that I'm not a robot. I'm just reacting to you. No, but I don't believe that.
Mhm.
But coming back to that, you can say only that again, the same kind of religious background says only human, separate human from the rest of the nature. So everything was built, and then God made the human, and everything in the service of human. And that is the same way that then we say that like animals don't have consciousness. Then we can deal with them as we want. I see that is cruel, and that's a really poor way of looking at the life. But again, I do believe our consciousness is certainly more than monkeys and whales and dolphins and insects. But I do believe is a gradual, is a quantitative increase in consciousness that makes human. Eventually, that quantitative change become a qualitative change, because like we have the only people with only living being with a written language. Other animals do have a probably language, not as developed as ours. So I agree with you that there is consciousness beyond human. Now, when I said that nature has a value because it's create consciousness, I didn't mean human consciousness.
Yeah.
But even if humans are gone in few million years, another species is going to arise that has consciousness. This is just what nature does. Nature starts with simple chemistry, then create something that replicates itself, life, that life become complex and start processing data, information. At certain point, when certain amount of the data are processed, that entity achieve consciousness. And that is not necessarily human. As a matter of fact, we know that there were lots of other species that had human abilities, we killed them all. We did kill them all. We eradicated them, we human, because our ability, our part of the brain that builds weapon grew faster that our part of the brain that make us what we call these days human, meaning like how do we treat nature? How do we treat animal? How do we treat a piece of stone? Like when you go to some of the national parks, they tell you don't take the stones away
Mhm.
because if everybody does that, then
There's no
it
more
changes.
stones.
Well, it changes the nature of the. You see, this ability to create a consciousness that then turns back and protect the nature. This happened just in the last few hundred years. For a long time, we could build weapon that could kill and destroy, and that part of our intelligence developed so much faster. We call that so-called technocratic intelligence rather than so-called emotional intelligence. What what do we put your abilities? How do we use our abilities? Now, I think if we dive deep in our emotional intelligence, we can come to the conclusion that the nature, by virtue that it can produce conscious beings even beyond us, has inherent value to it. It does not need to be human. And by looking at that way, that sort of negates both ends. The end that says, God created everything for you, do as you please. And the other end that says, nothing has really a value. If a meteor comes and, or a big the asteroid comes and destroys, it doesn't make any difference if it destroys Mars or Earth. So,
Well, I kind of understand that point of view too, because in the perspective of the entire universe, why does it really matter if there's no more humans?
it means nothing for the universe.
Exactly.
Universe will just go on. But you see that there. I don't believe that. I do believe that the fact that there is something in the universe, and I'm sure this has repeated itself in the universe numerous times. I don't believe there's so-called Fermi paradox. Have you heard of that?
I feel like I've heard of it.
Fermi, Enrico Fermi was a theoretical physicist and astrologist that calculated how many stars are just in our galaxy, and then by statistic, how many planets will be in Goldilocks, meaning it's the habitable zone of the star, and then calculated that it is almost impossible that humanity is the only living conscious being in the universe. But then the paradox comes from that if there are billions of intelligent beings in the planet, why haven't we met any of them? And then it goes and explains why we haven't met them. But
how
that
do
the
you know we
paradox
haven't
is,
met any?
Hmm?
How do you know that we
well, I
haven't?
haven't met, and nothing is recorded, nothing credible is recorded or evidence. There's no evidence that we have met any conscious being from
But
other
we're
places.
using the evidence based on our own, like what's in our own minds.
But that's what evidence is.
Yeah, but what about the evidence that it was better to have your birth be done by a doctor? That's evidence in someone else's mind.
Mhm.
Everyone's knocking down Semmelweis saying no, 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 because of their own evidence.
No, you're pushing my buttons with Semmelweis.
But no, but this is like something that I always try explaining to you. We're using, like when you observe animals, it doesn't matter where you're observing the animals. You're observing animals under human observation.
Correct.
An animal is never, you're not truly observing an animal.
We are using our tools that we have.
And using ourselves as an example or something to mirror.
Yep.
How can you really say that we've never met anything else? What if we can't see it? I was talking to
But
Dominic
that's what I mean. We don't have evidence that other living being exists because we use our tools. Like for a long time, light, colors is what we saw, and we saw that's all. We know that it's a very, very thin. We are going to talk about colors next.
Mm-hmm.
Colors and the light that we see is a very narrow band of the electromagnetic spectrum. The rest we cannot see.
I was just going to bring that up. Like shrimp can see thousands more colors than us. We can't, there's no evidence that this color exists except for to the shrimp in our own eyes. This morning, I changed my outfit 3 times. I can't prove that. I can't prove that. There's no evidence because I put my clothes away each time. Every time I did it, I cleaned up after myself.
But you just told me that. I believe you. That's already an evidence.
But that evidence won't hold up in court. That's not scientific.
No, but that's not a court.
Saying that, me just verbalizing, that's not evidence. Will that hold up in a scientific lab?
Observation, if it's repeated and so on.
It wasn't repeated. It was a one-time thing.
Well, you do it every day.
I only did it today. So does that mean it didn't happen because there's no evidence?
See, that's not science. That's in the science. We are looking at repeatable. One of the criteria of the science is replicable and observable.
Yeah, but if you don't know what you're looking at, how can you say it's replicable? You don't. What if there's like an invisible thing on this table, but in another universe it's not invisible?
Yeah, but that is the part that says I'm not denying that there is something that we cannot see on this table. I'm just saying we do not have any evidence that unseeable on something that we cannot see. I don't have any evidence that exists. Coming back to other conscious life, based on most current data that we have, we know mathematically it's almost impossible that you're alone, but we do not have any evidence that we can sense with our senses that other living being exists. And that is what the paradox is, that why is it that statistically is impossible, but we don't have any evidence? That is exactly the core of that Fermi paradox. Okay, so but let's again come back to that. And the question is again that our title is, what is the value of nature? I think the value of nature is itself. This is an inherent kind of value that nature assigns to itself. It doesn't need us to assign value to it. But some people then will say, but nature is not a conscious being, which I disagree with that, and probably I'd even disagree with that, because imagine all the chemical things that are happening in nature, all the life, all the ecosystem, and so on. And here I agree with you. It may not have a consciousness like a human, but it does have a consciousness of its own, how this different complex system interact with each other, and the ability. We have to see ourselves as a product of the nature and not as the owner of the nature. And that is, I think, where it makes a huge difference.
Have you ever heard the theory that wheat domesticated humans?
I actually have heard that, and you have no idea how close to the truth it comes.
Oh, I do have an idea how close to the truth it comes.
Okay, go ahead.
Every step of human life has been surrounding wheat, making wheat to become a better product, making wheat to be stronger, wheat to survive different things. How can we grow wheat? We're going to start living in places that we can grow the most wheat because we're so dependent on it. So we've really, as humans, similar to how cats domesticated themselves, shaped our own lives around wheat, around growing wheat. But I bet you can explain it more scientifically.
Well, if you're interested in that, go read the Richard Dawkins, The Selfish Gene. Imagine the purpose of a gene is to propagate, make more copies of itself. Now, and we have domesticated wheat. We made it from few corns to 200 corn, and we spread it everywhere, and we eat it, and it's great, right? We are great.
Yeah.
Now, imagine take it from the view of the genome of the wheat. What could genome of the wheat do to produce the most copy of itself on the face of planet? Use us human as its slave, give us something that we need. You can say slave, you can say a symbiotic relationship, because we know plants, they make edible things on purpose so that like a bird.
Seeds can be spread.
Yes, they make a fruit around the seed that the bird goes and eats it and goes and defecate 500 miles.
Better yet, they make fiber around the seed, so then it comes out in a specific way so that it can be planted. Like,
And-
it's so technologically advanced.
It uses other living being
Mhm.
to spread its seeds, because each one, those that are spreading more are going to have more copies, and that is what a gene wants. Now, the gene of the corn says, let's say I'm a gene of the corn or wheat, and you're a human. I say, this human is very handy. He has a lot of brain and intelligence. How can I latch on that intelligence and abilities so we can go make factories to produce fertilizer for me, for my children, and so on? Let me give him a little more carbohydrate. Let me produce a little more corn. Let me give this human something that he stop everything else, being a hunter and gatherer, which had much better life than the farmers. Let me domesticate this hunter and gatherer so stays in one place and take care of me and my children. Let me give him something for that. And that's how we domesticated the human. And since then, for thousands of years, we had much better life, much better lifestyle, much better health. When we became from hunter and gatherer to farmer, we were almost 20 centimeters shorter. Our lifespan was called 10 years shorter.
Mhm.
So, but the wheat still.
Well, and think about where we settled because of the wheat. We didn't settle like deep inside the forest. We were settling in places where we can have prairies and fields. for
Water,
wheat,
yeah. So the wheat did a really good job to domesticate us.
That's the thing. Humans, we think we're so smart. We think we're just at the top of every life chain, but we've been domesticated so many times.
And-
We're always being domesticated and manipulated by different plants and animals, and we think that we're the ones. It actually makes me want to like switch the question into, should humans have intrinsic value independent of nature?
But now let's come back to your thing though. Do you know when you know that other living beings have domesticated you? When you have a cat. Then you know that how domesticated the cat, how the cat is taking advantage of you.
Every day, actually, I've been noticing more and more like, wow, my cat is the boss of me.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
you know?
I'll be watching TV, just chilling at home, and she's laying on my lap. I can't get up because she's too cute, too cozy and soft, and I have to go to the bathroom so bad, or maybe I want a snack, but I just suffer so my cat can be cozy.
But you would be surprised, or maybe you are not, but many will be surprised. That is a chemical reaction.
Oh, I do think that I have toxoplasmosis.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to refer to.
I actually, like, my friends and I talk about this every time we get together. We all think that we're infected.
So you know, there is a special kind of, I would say, parasite or
It is a parasite, I thought.
Toxoplasmosis, called toxoplasmosis, that literally lives around cats, and especially their litter box. What we have found that mice that are literally exposed to toxoplasmosis, they lose their fear of cats. They show up on purpose where the cats are, and what do you think the cat is going to do? It's going to eat them. And then that gives the cat an advantage to practically be more plentiful. More cat, then there's more cat feces, and toxoplasmosis wins. Now, who's the boss? Cat or the toxoplasmosis? And we have found out that it goes to the brain of the mice, and it rewires certain connection to not only they lose the fear of the cat, but they love the smell of the cat urine. Now, there are good theories and good evidence out there that that's the reason why we love the cats, because it rewire our brain, that coziness, that cuddliness, and so on. So practically cats in combination with toxoplasmosis has rewired our brain to enslave us to their will.
When I was in like 6th grade or something, I had a friend named Brianna, and she kept her litter box in her bedroom. And she told me one time that she actually likes the smell of her cat box, and that's why she keeps it in the bedroom.
Yeah, so you see, nature has so many. Now we think, yeah, we are the boss of the nature, but nature has so many facets and so many sides. It's amazing to see that we are a small player and we are a pawn in the whole scheme of things. Now, that doesn't really negate that we are about to destroy it. We are not, it's not a possibility. We are destroying the planet and
Humans
the
are
nature.
Yeah, humans are very egotistical. Like, we think that everything is about us and that we're the top of everything, we're the smartest, whatever. Even though it's very known that there's faster animals, smarter animals, stronger animals, anything that you can think of,
Smarter animals than us?
smarter animals than
Yeah,
humans.
come on. Who's that?
Think of an elephant's memory.
Yeah.
An elephant has a way stronger memory than a human.
How do you know that?
What do you mean? How do I know that?
What's the evidence that the elephant has more memory than human?
I'm not a scientist. I've just read it.
Okay. So, to our best understanding, again, we have the most intellectual capacity of all animals, but we are a part of the equation.
I
I
don't
know you
believe
don't.
that even for one split second. Like, I do not believe that. Look at what humans do to each other, ourselves. All the other animals have not destroyed the planet like we have. Do you think that that makes us smarter? I think that that makes them smarter. They have a lot more respect for their own home.
Mhm. Yeah, on the philosophical area, I give you that we have not used our intelligence in a good way, and we are destroying the planet.
And
But
also, animals can predict weather better than us.
they have abilities. I mean, a dog smells 60,000 times better than a human. No, that's not a question. But the dogs don't get together talk about the abilities of human, but human get
How do you
together.
know that?
Huh?
I think I genuinely do think that my chickens get together and talk about me.
Your chickens?
I genuinely think that my chickens get together and talk about me.
Amanda, few
My
hundred
chickens
years,
know you now,
Okay.
even.
few hundred years ago, they would have burned you on the stake.
Maybe
You
they
know that,
did.
right?
Maybe they did. I
No.
also believe in
Yeah, you
past
were-
lives.
Oh,
So-
okay.
So you never know. But-
okay. Well, I don't
But
believe
actually,
that
no, I
is.
have one more question. I have one more question for you. Do you think if humans weren't so egotistical, we would be able to advance and help other plants and other animals the way that we have? Like the way that wheat domesticated us. Do you think if we weren't so egotistical, wheat could have domesticated us?
I don't understand really the premise of this question. I mean, we are egotistical and we are still working mostly with the nature. We are a small part of it. We have enslaved a lot of things in the nature to our will, but at the end of the day, we are as well enslaved by other means in the nature. I think what I can say that we are maturing. The humanity is maturing. Things like killing your animals, doing with them what you want, it was nothing wrong with that until recently.
Yeah.
And now we know that's wrong.
I mean, there was nothing wrong with doing that to other people until recently.
Well, that was wrong for thousands of years. Do to others what you like to be done to you. That was like for few thousand years old premise of all religions. But that animals would have rights, no, that wasn't the case. And now we are talking about artificial being, artificial intelligence. If they achieve consciousness, at least we start talking about
Yeah.
it. So again, I'm an optimist. Even though I'm an existential nihilist, I'm an optimist. I think humanity is maturing. Things that were unimaginable even a generation ago, like it was normal thing that you kill gay people. It was normal. I mean, it was what?
Yeah,
What
well,
else
no,
to do
that's
with them?
exactly what I'm
What else to do
saying.
with them?
50 years ago, it
Mhm.
was normal.
Or this all this and again. If you are interested, go read Steven Pinker. We have referred to him many, many times. So humanity is becoming more human. It's maturing. If it's if it's enough to save the planet, I hope so.
Yeah. I'm going to say something really pessimistic.
Okay.
I think that we are adapting and maturing, but I think that there are some people who benefit from us not maturing that are
No
actively
kidding.
trying to stop that.
No kidding.
And I think that unfortunately, those people that are benefiting from us not maturing have a little bit more power and are using that power and kind of stopping us. Like, I think that we could mature a lot faster and smoother if it weren't for these very specific people with their
Special
ideals.
interests.
Special interests. Yeah.
Something like that we are going right now through. What we do is like 1/30th risk of infection, and people that are spinal procedure, and now people are trying actively prevent the patient to get a better care.
There's pretty much like two sides of humanity. There's wanting to grow, wanting to better society, better humans, and
This
then
is-
benefiting from the status quo.
Yeah, and I'm talking about even intelligent people.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
so it is. So
I mean, think
totally.
about world leaders. These
Yeah,
world leaders
for-
are very intelligent. Like, they're not stupid people.
I'm not sure about.
No, they wouldn't be. They wouldn't be world leaders if they were really stupid.
The way they react, they act, especially our part of the Western world leaders. They cannot be that smart. I can just see based on what they do. I can say they cannot be that smart.
They're
No.
not that smart in our eyes, but in their own eyes, they're smart. And actually, like, in what they've accomplished, they're pretty successful in accomplishing evil. So you have to you
Yep.
have to give them that credit that you can be smart and evil.
Yeah, well, Dr. Evil is still a doctor. Dr.
Yeah.
Evil is a doctor, has
Yeah.
a doctorate in evil.
Exactly.
So I think we can conclude this episode now.
Thank you guys for watching. That was Essence of Life. We talked about what is the value of nature. I'm Amanda Armagast.
I'm Dr. Abbasi, and you see, with all the things, she's the pessimist and I'm the optimist.
Yeah, I guess I'm just the optimist on the outside. Bye, guys.